I'm ready to put the petrol tank back in the car now we've got the back valance on. So welcome to a new episode. We start fresh. You may remember, and I'm going to delete the footage if you've not yet seen it. I repaired this fuel tank sender with a resin, a PAPPA, I can never, what a stupid name. Now that resin's got its uses in certain applications, but definitely not for this, so don't do what I suggested, which was when you get this fuel filler pickup pipe, or this fuel tank pickup pipe, breaking loose, what happens is the solder gives way here and it breaks loose and it leaks. But you can take it apart. If you take that nut off there and the insulating washer, the fuel sender itself comes away, and then you're left with this pipe. Line it up to where it's supposed to be. It should be parallel with the float bobbin at the end. Mark it. I just put a little chisel mark in the rim so that when I'm soldering it I can aim it at the right point. What happened with the PAPPA tank? It just broke down with the petrol. Good job I was taking the tank out anyway to fit the valance once it had arrived. The tank was in just to get the engine running. Tank now goes back in, but then that's when I found this broke loose. The PAPPA tank can't withstand the petrol. When I look back on it, it's a botch, and I don't like doing botches, and I must admit I'm not into bad workmanship. And I would say that using a resin repair on this is bad. So I'm going to mark myself down. Anyway, luckily it's been caught at the right point and we've found a way to repair this. Just solder it back up. Clean it up as much as you can. Say clean it up as much as you can. Clean it so it's completely clean. I used this air tool attachment with a wire wheel, but you could use a wire brush. So I spun into it like that. Cleaned it all up until that pipe and the base plate were completely clean. Then put some soldering flux on it. This is what I use. This is called soldering paste. So you put some soldering paste on there. Then I just use a little blow lamp. These are great, these hobbyist blow lamps. Get one in your kit. You don't need anything else. You can fill them with lighter fluid. There it is. Oh. There it is, and then you can just solder away with that. So what you trick is heat the area up away from where you're going to be putting the solder so the heat travels across. I heated the pipe about there, let it just get hot. Then I started to apply the solder. I actually just used my electrical solder and it worked. Okay, but use lead solder, don't use leaded free solder. And then it just finds its way down the pipe, and then there's heated a little bit of the area here, and the whole thing just all of a sudden capillaried all the way round. So I knew I'd got it when it did that. So that's how it should be repaired, not with some epoxy. It's just not going to work, is it? I don't know what I was thinking, but you can't always get things right the first time round. So solder that is so easy to do. And it's permanent. This isn't going to break like the PAPPA tank. That's the proper way to do it, and that's how I actually don't know why I never did that in the first place. I don't know what I was thinking, because I've got all the tools to do that. But perhaps I was thinking that little blowtorch wouldn't be up to it, and it'd mean getting the porta pack out. And perhaps I thought I didn't have any soldering paste in stock, and that normal solder wouldn't do it, but it does. Solder's solder. It's just that that's resin cord solder. And in plumbers, merchants and things, they don't use resin cord stuff, I don't think anyway. You put your paste on separately. So that's it, you put your paste on separately. Sorry about that, the camera went on its timer there. So that's ready to refit. We're going to test it now and see if it leaks. We're going to tip the tank up backwards onto it and leave it 10 minutes. Should be okay. Then I'll refit the tank and I can drop the car back on its wheels, fit the back bumper, and then I think the back end's done, because we've done all the lights, so we should be getting close to getting it so we can reel it in and out of the garage here and do more mechanical stuff now that all the bodywork stuff's been done. There's a bit of cleanup of the floor pan to do, so we'll do that and get the tar pads in, and then get some seam sealer on that driver's side. Let's get to work. Let's get this fitted and out of the way. See you in a sec. Okay, I'm getting ready to fit the tar pads down now where we've done the floor repairs, both sides. This side's had the welding cleaned up now and the remainder of the welding done.
pretty clean lines there, most of the weld ground back and hidden. Little plate just on that fold edge, some rust killer to go on. It's been vacked out. This area now is ready to receive its seam seal on the inner valance to floor edge, same as this side over here. We do exactly what we did this side, like that there. Move this back, and there you go. Sorry about that jump then. We're looking to get that, which we'll do quite easily. It's a little bit of rust killer to go down. You can see where the water pump for the foot operated washer wipe used to leak, and it was having a go at rotting that floor, but we'll now kill that back, wire wheel it and kill it back. Seam seal goes on, and then the tar pads, or is it tar pads first then sim seal? Totally losing it today. Okay, there's what we're up to on this little bit to finish off the final welding. The weld has been wheeled away now, because I think that is it. That little plate was the last one in, and then I'm going to drive this car into the garage for further works. Watch this space at Cortina City. Okay, so here I am building up the back bumper. I've cobbled together a mishmash of various parts, including some brand new from the Mk3 Cortina Club corner rubbers, because simply I haven't got any. So I've had to put new ones on, but they're good replicas, those from the club. They previously were a very hard item to get hold of, until we started remaking them in the club. Refurbished the indicator, the registration plate, general illumination. Found the best out of a bunch of second-hand underriders, cleaned them back and greased them up. Put all the fixing kits on to secure the bumper irons. This bumper is an new old stock one. It's never been on a car. I got it for £5 at a car boot, or a auto jumble, and it just needed de-rusting. But it's, once I polish it, it's pitted, but it'll polish up. It's not rotted through, so that'll probably clean up quite well, and it matches about the condition of the underriders there. This one needed an ear welding onto it there, and this one needed a bracket welding onto it there. So they all needed a bit of work, but I found the best of a bunch, and look what I was working with. The bag of underriders. We've got all sorts in there, built up over the years, so this is ready to go on. We have to drill the holes for the underriders there into the lower valance. They never have them there because obviously optional underriders, so this should all go together. I've tested the lamp, took that to pieces because the original one was broke. I found another one, I resoldered a new wire connector on it. They always snap, these wires here. There's a little copper or little brass contact pad, and you have to solder the wire back to it and thread it back through the rubber, and the rubber acts as the spring. The rubber can go, the heat of the bulb can make the rubber go hard, and then you lose the springiness, and these fail. Sometimes I've even soldered wires straight to the bulb. Let's get this fitted now, because that's the bumper done, built up out of all the bits. It all looks grubby at the moment, but it'll clean up okay. Okay, sounds like the near side wheel bearing is gone. I don't think the noise is coming from the diff, but we're ready to do a bit of road testing on this car now, on the private road of course, so we get trailered to the private test track obviously, and before we do that, just freewheeling it up. But it sounds like that bearing shot to hell. It's making a real racket there. It's not coming from the diff as I thought it might have been, so hopefully just a wheel bearing might get us out of trouble here. Let's take the wheel off and have a little look. Right, who's ready for a wheel to fall off? What's that wheel doing there? Okay, with a hub puller attached. It's one me and Richard made. I got this from a car boot sale, it had no end on it. So me and Richard welded down this piece, 2 bolts through, bit crude but it works very well. Slide liberally and that'll get your half shaft out, revealing, already can see rust, revealing a rusted bearing. Feels bad, wobbles from side to side. There's your knock. That's not good. Whether there's any damage inside the half shaft, we don't know yet. I'm going to extract the half shaft, and it feels like the splines have also got play in them. But that could be a sort of effect of this bearing. That bearing is bad. It's wobbling from side to side. It's totally gone. That's a lot of the noise is coming from that. I'm hoping the splines at the end of this half shaft are okay. It felt like they were just moving inside the gears in the diff casing, as though the splines have got loads of slop in them. And you'll be able to tell that when we withdraw this shaft now. Here we go. Well, we talked about that wheel bearing and the half shaft's out. Let's have a look at that naughty bearing, very noisy. So just drill this securing ring. That bearing is normally sat here. I've just started to slide it off. This little ring holds it in. They're pressed on. I think you can heat them up red hot, then drop them on. Drill into it. I didn't quite get the drill wide enough. Doesn't matter. Then just tapped it with a chisel, and it basically just loosens it up once you start drilling at it, and that can come off, and then the bearing can slide off now. Down it goes. So let's take that bearing and have a little inspection, see why it was so noisy. It's obviously knackered, it's obviously rusted, and we're just going to lay it down, just see how, a matter of interest, how crunchy it was.
Alright folks, that's the bearing on the bench. There's no real advantage to this other than curiosity, because we've got a new bearing imminently arriving. Just been tracking the parcel number online. It may even be in today and I can get this job boxed off. It's a Saturday. Here's the carrier that holds the ball bearings in their position as they rotate round, and there are the ball bearings. It's all rusty. I didn't see any ball bearings necessarily locked, but they can just seize in the carrier and drag themselves round. There's a seal this side. I can presume I can probably just smack this and knock the centre of the bearing out, and we can look at the ball bearings to see. I think it's gone on the face here, and that it was able to rock rather than play on the bearings themselves. I think that it's down to this, the way that shaft moves. I'm just able to move it here now with my thumb and make it rock this way, if you will, like that. So the whole bearing itself was rocking on the half shaft. It made a hell of a racket. I've just driven the car. Well, I did just drive the car down a private road, of course, supervised. You know, we trailered it to a private road, as we always do, because, you know, we like to keep everything tickety-boo. So that's the bearing. I'm going to knock the middle of it out, and then our curiosity can be finally satisfied as to why it failed. I would say simply it rusted up. Let's knock it apart, and then wait for the new one to arrive, and then put that half shaft back in. And then I think I'm going to switch to the back brakes, bleeding back brakes, and then a few other jobs. And I'm going to get the cylinder head off, because the cam is very tappy. I've got a new cam, new followers, new valve stem seals, We'll get that fitted. If we can't get Richard in, we'll have a go and then we'll ring him for advice. There's probably a compromise because Richard's very busy at the moment. Right, bearing coming off. Smack it apart. I've got the ball bearings out. I can see that they've been dragging. They've got like scratch marks on them. So they've basically seized in position then dragged round. So all those are scored. And this carrier or the race or the track that they fit in, it's all pitted, so the bearing was shot. And there's some shot for you, some buckshot. Some buckshot. Right, so that was the bearing gone. It's time to move along. I'm going to do my Royal Mail tracking and see if the bearings been dropped off at my work. There's someone there today to take delivery. They're working. So that's that. One knackered 1600 half shaft bearing for a Cortina axle. Well, we're in luck. Postman is good. Royal Mail service great. Bearing arrived exactly on time. Got it off eBay. So this is an LPB wheel bearing kit from eBay for the 1600 half shaft, which is a smaller diameter than a 2 litre axle. So you've got to get the 600 one in our case. So we get the securing. I don't know. There'll be a proper name for this. But you got to get that glowing red hot and then slide liberally onto the shaft. Don't know which way the bearing would face. It looks the same both sides. Really, when they make a note of which way the bearing came off. Oh dear. That bearing actually split when I whacked it. I don't know if that's supposed to be splits in them. I think it just cracked. Anyway, this has to go on a certain. Does this have to go on a certain way? Is what I meant to say. Certainly, you've got to heat that up, or you press it on with some kind of tool that slides it down. But I've done them in the past on loads of Cortinas. Got it glowing red. Bang! Down you go. Let's have a try. I'll get the Porta Pack now. Porta Pack is basically an oxyacetylene torch. A normal plumber's blow lamp may get this up to red hot. I'm not sure. Certainly my little mini gas torch won't. And I can't lay my hands on the plumber's gas torch, Chris. So I'll get the Porta Pack out, do it outside, see where we go. Wheel bearing going on, then reassemble. I've also got a new handbrake cable. Curiously marked dash mounted handbrake cable. As implying that the bench seat handbrake cables are different. Now, the bench seat handbrake is on the dash, but it only goes down to a lever which then connects to what looks like just a normal brake cable from that point on under the car, but maybe they are a different length because the bracket requires it further up the vehicle. So perhaps, yeah, you've got to have a handbrake, dash handbrake specific cable, which I managed to find on eBay. So a couple of jobs to do there. Let's get on, get this on. Okay, I'd just like to show you a quick tip that I use for getting these bearings on, spin you round. There was method in the madness of splitting the old bearing apart because it gives you a collar which can go down and take the lion's share of the impact when you're knocking the new bearing on. Now I'm using a piece of box section, look, over to the top of the shaft and down. And what you do, grab this, then slam down, boom, like this, and you will knock that bearing on. I put some copper slip on it. It's a tight fit, but that's what you want. It's a lot tighter than the one that came off. Then that will be a little bit stuck on there, but you can just strike that quite lightly, and that'll come off. It's come off quite easy because that's not a tight fit, not like the securing ring that we're going to be putting on next that has to be hot. So again, we can use this to strike the securing ring. So outside for this one, get the ring, heat it up red hot, slide down your shaft. So you'd be around this, you'd be coming in this area like that, and you'd use the Trying to think now. Use your right hand. Would be better. It's more control really on this. Yeah. So you. What am I trying to say? I've got yeah, to put that down. The skewing ring, then strike it with the remains of that old bearing, so you're not damaging anything that way. Striking ring's going to hit this red hot. Now you could argue it's going to try and attack the rubber there because you've got heat being introduced. So really I'm going to have some water on standby so that as soon as it strikes down here, I'll spray liberally with water. I'll just stick it in a bucket actually. The bearing can withstand the water, so we'll be okay. I'll blow it with air anyway. But so we don't really want to get water in this, do we, to be fair? Although this side is exposed to the elements, so they must be sealed. It's an interesting one. What do we do about the red hot ring piece, folks? Don't know. Chris, have you had a curry? Chris is our scapegoat, our fall guy, and he doesn't mind. It's all prearranged. Get that off and get heating. Get the ring on the fire. Okay, I'm going to heat this ring now. Whoa, careful. Whoa. Should heat up quite easy, folks, this. Hope this is right. Got it in the jaws of the pliers. So I've used this technique before and it's worked. I really do need it to be glowing red, I think. We're on standby behind with the half shaft on a block of wood, on a piece of plywood to stop the studs denting into the ground. It's going red on that bit, yeah, this is going to work. And I've got to quickly turn you round so you can see it going on. It's a bit of an operation here. Let's get you in a bit more. This ready as well. Whoops. So what we don't take any metal out, so be really careful. Sorry, it's windy today, sorry about that.
Okay, heat this ring. Here we go, getting ready now. Here we go. That on, and off we go. Should go straight on. And that is it. Oh, I want to cool that down, oxygen to cool it down. No, oxygen might explode. What am I doing? It's not good. Pure oxygen, dangerous, dangerous. I think that's it. I think it's worked. Yeah, we're on there. That was up. There you go. Let go. As simple as that, straight on, no need for no press. See? Like the old days of the railway trains and the tyres on the railway trains. Straight on. That is your wheel bearing fitted. Let's go and put it back on the car now. Let it cool down a bit first. See in a sec. PC Project PAPPA on half shaft wheel bearing repair, rear. Bit of copper slip on there now, and then find the fitting point, the engagement point of the shaft. That is it. And now we can start getting this back on. Tap it lightly there, it should start to go in, then we'll use the bolts to finish off. Back in plate, back in plate. Whoops, back in plate, folks. Nearly got us that time. Whoops, don't get the end of the shaft in the gravel either, you idiot. It's more like it with a knacker. If I'd have done that, because that all fits together as one. And now you can knock it in and line it up. So this should be a lot smoother. I'm going to get on now and fit this. Where are you? Are you in line? I can't see, it's so bright outside. Yeah, you're there. I quite often do that, don't I? But you can't see. Right, copper hammer on that. Hang on. Let's just get it to start. Nowhere near here yet. Oh, what the hell's the hole? Struggling here. That's it. Got it. Got it. Brake pipes in the way. I didn't think the brake pipes would get me. Of all the things, I did not think the brake pipes would get in the way. Get the rest with the bolts. The bolts will draw that in now. I should have my gloves on for this kind of a deal. There we go, there's one. One in, that's one. That's one. Oh, folks, I can't see a thing here. What's locking that plate? We should all be in line there. I think it is. No, it's not right. Don't be silly. This needs rotating. I don't know how you rotate that. And if it's only fixed one way. I think so. It might be upside down. I don't know, hope not. Is it only one way fitment? I wouldn't have thought so. I didn't think a bad design like that make that just a one way fit. That one's in. This one doesn't line up, it's a one way fit. I'm not impressed. No, I think it's right. It feels like it's going. Yeah, we got it. Hope you can see. We definitely got that side, anyway. That one's on its way. Let's try it. It's all in line. Plate slightly round. I don't know why. That's like that. Oh, we're gonna have to get some tools, folks. I'll be right back. This needs a bit of jiggly pokery. Hold on. I've pumped them 4 bolts in, 17s, and then nip them up opposites first. Throw the bearing in the rest of the way. And we've just got the brake ready shoes today. I've got a new handbrake cable, so may as well connect that up. Torque these up. You don't want them coming out. Whoops, socket going. Opposites. Right, let's get torque wrench on there. What's that feel like now? A lot better than it was. It ain't wobbling about as much. I still think though, at the end of this, I can see a bit of play that I don't like. I know they all have a bit of whip, but it just feels a bit crunchy to me. We're probably still going to have a noise on this, I reckon. That bearing was knackered, but still not confident about it. I don't like that feel there. This feels a bit crunchy. I think something's gone in the axle myself. I'll be right back. We're going to put this all back together. Okay, it's still making a noise, but now from the opposite side. That side's gone quiet. I only thought one bearing was gone. It's making a hell of a racket driving down the road. And when I've got it jacked up and just freewheeling, it's like a really loud clunky noise coming from the back. I don't know how it actually manages to create that noise from something like a broken wheel bearing, but it does. This wheel bearing is just wobbling. You won't be able to see it quite on camera, but it's just loads of play in this one. Feels bad. Loads of play. It's gone. So, I'm getting the hook puller off now. Sorry about the wind noise. Boom! Hook puller away. Probably won't need this now, so put it bolted all back as its kit. So that bearing's absolutely shot to sugar. Just wow, that socket's stuck on the. Oh yeah, just putting that back together. That's the hub puller, or the half shaft puller. Sorry. I don't need that now. We've got to do the same thing again. We've got to drill the ring, retaining ring, get the bearing off. You can see it's all rusted, so it's wobbling from side to side, and that'll be creating the noise. So I'll get right onto it, swap this same again. We're going to heat that up, slide down, kit's all outside, we may as well get it done. We've got 2 bearings, so boom, let's do that. Get it back together, then it should, as it turns. There's some clunk in the axle, but it wasn't. It was really coming from that brake drum, really loud. It sounded like someone was hitting a hammer on the brake drum. I'm just wondering how that manages to do it, but it was a hell of a noise. Okay, but it was the same on that side too, so you should have heard it when both were gone. See you in a sec. Stop recording. Okay, the bearing is in and it's cured the noise, so there's no massive rattling noise anymore. It's gone. So me thinking the axle might have been knackered, we might be alright, that axle might be good. I'll go and give it another drive down our private road and we'll see. It should run a lot better. I think that's it. Right, I've got a car back in the garage now. It's moving around and it's ready to go. We've got some brake rotors to fit. These ones are warped. I didn't think they'd be any good, but I just wanted to get them on so I was rolling. Now the brake rotors have arrived, I'll get them on. Bleed the brakes again. The back brakes needed bleeding anyway, because I was struggling to get the fluid through to the back bleed nipple. But I think it'd probably be alright now. When I was fixing the axle, fluid had got to the rear cylinder, so it might have made it. So I'll have to just revisit with the easy bleed. But for now, I'll get the rotors on first. Here we go, wheels off, rotors on, and then a re-bleed of the front and a bleed through for the back. Brakes then we move on to something else. PAPPA's in the garage. Well, with the wheel off, it looks like this bearing was ready to go anyway. Just playing it. It doesn't look too good. The pin holding it on was just a bent piece of wire. So it's a good job we're on this. Obviously I would have done it anyway. Hub off then. Let's hope the stub axle's okay. They normally are. Bearing out. Just wash that bearing down. Let's have a look at it. It's all dry grease, it's not good in there. They're normally packed out okay, so they normally survive, but for what it's worth, we'll put a new bearing in. We've got to knock the race out. You've got to just put a little tool in there to knock out the old races. This has all been covered before, of course, on previous vids. Some degreaser on there just to clean the dry grease off.
Yeah, that's not scored. There's some pitting on it from where it's been stood, but it's okay. So just a bearing for that. There's two, one at the front and one at the back. These have, obviously these have been changed. They might be okay. It doesn't look scored. Might just want it nipping up. Yeah, I think these have been changed in its life. Well, they would have been, wouldn't they? You know, but yeah. I'm going to continue with this. We don't need to get to the back. Take the plates off, that can stay on. Just got to pull the rotor. It's held on with those tabs at the back. And put the new rotors onto that carrier. But first, I'll get these bearings out. I'm not going to knock them out. Okay, I've got this bearing out. I'm just having a little inspection of it, and I think it's been replaced and it's a new one. I've cleaned it up. And this bearing that was on PAPPA, there's no scoring. The race is totally clean. It was packed with grease, so it's not seen any rust. It spins freely. Sounds smooth. I think it's all right. And the front one's okay as well. The race isn't damaged. No pitting on there. So I think it's good to put back. Just needs a new seal, which we've got. And actually I've got a complete brand new bearing kit as well if I needed it, but it's no point fitting that one. Might need it for the other side. I think I've only got one bearing kit. I don't know why I didn't order a pair, but I thought they came in a pair. So I think, other than the back seal, which was a bit, the back seal was a bit sort of hard, I think I'm going to fit that back in there. So I'll take the rotor off now and put the new rotor on, then fit that. So I'll fit the bearing races, because these come in later. So just get the races knocked in. You're going to knock the races into the hub right the way down. Okay, do that next. Bit of hay fever today, but it'll pass. Okay, so we've got to just front and back get the rotors out the box, brand new ones, some nice Borg and Beck rotors. They just unbolt at the back there, look. There's some locking tabs. Then your hub bolts onto your new brake disc or rotor, however you want to call it. I've used some compressed air to clean out the inside of the hub, get the old grease out because we're repacking this. Clean the bearings with compressed air, these, so they turn free. There was a little bit of dried grease in them, so they'll run a bit better now they're clean. But obviously the car's had new, at least on this side, it's had a new wheel bearing at some point reasonably recent in the car's life. But it wasn't adjusted upright because there was a little bit of rocking on the hub. And the castle nut, not the castle nut, but the nut, the screwing nut was not really to the right spec. It was a bit loose. Okay, I'm going to get this all reassembled now, so looks like we're reusing those. There's no need because they're in good condition. I decided to play it safe and go for the original, the new bearing. The reason I've done that is because I'm knackered anyway, because I haven't got two seals. And the back, the seal, I'll show you now, coming to your screen. This seal fits onto the hub, stops water and dust getting in from the back, and obviously the road wheels are hitting water, so this is an important seal. And this one on PAPPA, no surprise, the rubber has gone and it's not giving a seal. I've noticed the one in the pack, the new one, is nice and supple, and it's got a springy inner lip which will close nicely onto the stub. So really it needs that, which renders the kit useless because you've not got a seal. So there's no point. I may as well just use the whole kit now. So I'll put the race in, the new race, it's just here. What I did is get the race in, that's the old one, in it goes from this end, and then use the old one to line it up, and then just used a piece of hex bar which fits inside, get it even, and then tap that and it will go down. You know you're in because the front face of the old hub starts to try and go in behind the new one and kind of half fits. You can feel it lock in, and you just got to pry it out. So that I've used an old one to insert the new one. It slightly sits lower down in the face, and then it all packs together. We just need to get some grease now, pop this in, put the new seal on, and that's that side of the job done. This side doesn't have a dust seal, it has a cap. Again, it's the same procedure here for knocking in the race. Pack it with grease and you're good to go. And then we'll undo these rotor bolts. So yeah, I've decided to go for the whole new kit. It's important to make sure you pack your bearing with grease, and that doesn't mean, say, just putting bearing on the outside. It means packing it between the rollers. So you've got to force it in, use your hands or a tool. I'm using this multi-purpose grease, which is suitable for hubs. That's well rammed in there now, that grease, into the bearings. And then I'm going to open up the pack for the seal. It'll only go on one way. I think it faces inwards that way, so some scissors to open this, and then push that in, and then that's that side done. With pack the other side as well. So you ram the grease in, not just the surface of the bearing, but between the rollers. It's called packing. There is a technique to do it. I think I have to Google it, but that's well packed. Okay, the front race is in. You know you're in when you can fit the old race, and the old race slightly fits in too. See, there's a little bit of a lip. It goes, in other words, it's not flush with that. It goes in beyond a little bit. So to get that one, we use the socket. It's easy on this with socket. Then once it's nearly in with the socket, the old race lined up over top. Then I just put a flat bar across and tap down, because this hex bar, this square bar, gives an even surface. So that sets the bearing race just slightly recessed in. Now it's a case of packing that one, dropping it on, and that'd be that. We can then take this rotor off. Okay, we're off, we're going good here. Here's the new brake rotor, just refitting that now. It fits in from the back. Then we're going to torque those down. Just get the settings. They're almost all around the same level, these settings in the book. A lot of them are 40 on the torque wrench. I'll get torque wrench on those, but that's the rotor on. The other one was a little bit stuck to the hub, so what I did, once I'd undone these, I put 2 bolts back in it, but didn't tighten them all the way, and struck opposite the bolts to push the hub out, and gripped the disc in the vise. You see the vise just there mounted on my RSJ. So that is ready. Once we torque those up, knock out the appropriate locking tab, stops your disc falling off, and now we can refit this. These are Borg & Beck ones. They're very good and they weren't expensive. Do you know, I got a pair of these Borg & Beck brand new, 34 quid on eBay. I don't think it was a special deal either, just the way it was. I was pretty impressed with that, because they're like the top quality. Good quality. Okay, hub's gone on, and then the 27 nut on the middle. Tighten up initially to draw it in quite tight, because you've got to just pull it onto the stub, slight taper, and close everything up. Then back off, and it helps. You can fit your road wheel to make sure your nuts are tight for this, and then go till you've got just a little bit of rock, just a little bit of Planet Rock in it. Not too tight, because that'll wear the bearing out. So I can feel just a touch, nip just a little bit more. See how that is, and that's it. Then find a point where the castle nut lines up. You can keep turning it, and you'll find a position where it's happy with the hole for the split pin. We've got it there. So split pin goes in, and that is that side done. The rotor is on. Okay, so we're going to move on to the other side now, but that's how I do the the play in the bearing. It's a better way of doing it. Okay, over and out for now. We're going to do the other side. Okay, offside and wheel off, caliper off. If you listen to this, bearing gone, offside. Knackered that big time. That is crunching. It's just not good. It should not sound like that. That'll explain some more of the noise I've been getting on the recent drive outs. This will be the knackered rotor as well. Not a mega amount of play, probably too much. By the time the wheel's on, that will equate to quite a bit of play. So we'll get right down to it. Cap off first. So for these caps, just go round evenly. Don't just try it all on one side. You've got to go evenly. You're going to go even. This looking like it's full of water. No, it's not full of water. It's not great. Rusty, gone. It's a joke. Oh dear, we've got some bad stuff going on in here. No, that's full of rust. You'll find this bearing's rusted up. Is this carbon in the drink or what? Oh no, there's tons of play in that. This is gone. Again, someone's been in, it's had a new bearing, but it's failed. There seems to be, the washer seems to be spinning. Look, the washer's actually spinning. Something's not right here. Well, something's definitely amiss. Hope you can see it. I'll stick the torch on top for you guys at home. This is a bit of an interesting one. Okay, PC, the controls, we need to get the... I'm going to leave you on continuous take now, saves me messing about, and I'll edit down later. Radio on slightly in the background, but I don't think it'll pick up. Going for long nose pliers off screen for you. Stare at a wheel while you put up with me. 27 to get the nut off. I think I've got everything this side now to do this. I'm looking forward to extracting this one and seeing just exactly what is the lay of the land here, because it doesn't look good. Now we have got the bearing from the other side. I haven't got another new bearing or end seal, so this is going to be interesting. Actually, I've got another kit. I've just remembered. I think I've got a kit in spares. I'm sure I have. I'm just getting the long nose on that ear of the split pin, and I always come back. Oh, you're good to go. Cap full of gunk. Cap full of gunk. Castellated retainer off. Look at that. Finger tight, folks. Although there's some little bit of... I thought it was 27. I haven't got the right socket there. 27. Oh, that's a 32. That's why. Try getting a 27, everybody. Off screen again. Sorry about that. Here we go. Let's have a look. So straight away, we've got trouble. I'll explain more of the rumbling noises. Let's get that out. A little bit of gunk on the threads, just stopping that. So I can see rust already. Come on, Papa, what you been up to? No wonder that washer's spinning. It wasn't even making contact. That was actually turning, which is wrong. Okay, withdraw. Oh my God. Well, I say that, it's just on the inner bit, but can you see that at home? Bringing you in a little bit closer. There you go. Okay, so that's there. Whole thing's just a mess. Hey. So that was just... So now this front bearing actually looks okay. Maybe it's just worked loose. Oh no, that's crunchy. they began to break down on the bearings. So we're going to knock them all out the same way we did the other side. Get that cleaned up. So that's Scortio Filthio. It's actually rusted on that bit, but that doesn't matter because that isn't a face that you need. That's a bit scored, and again, that's not the race, so it doesn't really matter, but this has had some stick. That's definitely had some stick. The stub axle just receives the bearing. It doesn't actually form part of any contact area, so luckily. I don't think it does anyway, no. So that's pitted, that's rusty. That's about it. Right, we shall resume filming. I'll start building. I'll knock these bearings out now. Okay, so we'll have a look at the bearing. I've knocked it out. There it is. A new bearing that's gone bad. It's been sat too long. You can see it's made imprints, rusty imprints on the race. So it's stalled in position, and when I've driven this car up and down, it's obviously broke it free, but it's very crunchy. It isn't smooth. So the rust is between the faces, giving it that rough texture. The rust is, I mean, you could possibly dip it, de-rust it, but it's not worth it. Completely not worth it. It's freeing up now a little bit, but that was bad. The front one, same story. Water's got to the front one, and that's all crunchy too. That front one doesn't even want to turn. Front one's probably the worst. That's really struggling. It's all crunchy as it goes, and there's a lot of play. Put the race on that one. Oh, let me get the race for the front one. Race for the front one, pop it in and just feel it. You could get it better by keep cleaning it. That one's improving now, so maybe these just needed stripping down and cleaning, but it isn't worth it considering we've got better ones. These are new, they've just been sat, and that's what's attacked them. There you go. So you could them faces there have cleaned up actually. It seems any like score marks where they've jammed and then dragged. I'm just going to box them up. I'll keep them in a bag. I won't throw those just yet. I'm not going to use them for the pure price. It's just not worth it. But just as a bit of historical thing to keep with the car, I will keep those. Okay, we'll see in a sec. I'm going to start reassembling it all. I'm going to get the new rotor on there now. I'll knock the new races in, and we're ready to rock. Mk3 Cortina sitting back on some maintenance on PAPPA, now driven into the garage. Speedo cable was snapped. New one's gone on. It was a slightly longer cable I had. This will be different because of that different gearbox. The rocket box, the 4-speed, would have been slightly longer, which it was. So we've got a bit of an extra loop in the engine bay. We'll have to live with that. This cable is slightly shorter, as I said, for the bench seat type, but it's the same fittings at each end, so we're able to get that in. I had to bolt it onto the gearbox, and then because it's a hex bar, just turn it till I felt it slot in. Then it hadn't gone into the speedo head properly, so I just pulled it out the back. I actually did it as the engine was running and let it go. That's the carbon monoxide detector there going off, because I've had the car running in the garage the other way round without the fume extractor. We have a fume extractor here, but that CO2 monitor you can hear, carbon monoxide, sorry, CO monitor, very important because you can end up dozing off. That thing will get you out of jail. I know it's annoying, but it's annoying enough where I have to have, everything's open. It's annoying enough where it makes me wait till the garage CO level has dropped back down. I don't just turn the alarm off because I can smell the fumes, and that's because the car's pointing the opposite way. Okay, it's been running that way without the fume extractor on. It won't go that way, the fume extractor. Okay, so dropping the oil out of the, sorry about that, I'm dropping the oil out of the gearbox, the EP90, and it's mixed crappy coloured oil, a mixture of gunk ready for being replaced. That's the bung plug. These gearboxes have a drain plug right at the bottom. You don't have that on a normal Cortina 4-speed box, so handy. So it's draining out now. On the next clip that'll have stopped, so don't worry about it. Let me top up. I'm going to use the syringe to top the box up. My little Clark pump won't quite pump the viscosity of the EP90 gearbox oil. So we're going to use the syringe now. Sorry about that, that's the last time you'll have heard it. I'll see you in a sec. I'm going to top up with oil. See you in a sec, Pete. Stop recording. Heavy rains have finally arrived, which I think is what every word needed. Chucking it down. For once, I don't mind. Okay, the filling bung for this gearbox is just right in the middle of your screens there. We're draining out here. Colour of the oil looks a bit worn out. Just let you have a look in at that, see what you think of the colour of the oil. Comments, folks, for that one. And then into the pan. Looks like maybe there's some water in that. It's certainly not the best, so it'll be good to give it a change. Also, I've noticed if you look here, that bolt there should be centralised and it isn't, and that tells me the gearbox mount has gone. Now I don't know what type this is. It could well be the same as old school as Cortina standard. I don't know. I'll have to take this cross member off here, drop the cross member and see what happens. The gearbox won't fall down because the handbrake, dashboard handbrake system bracket will hold the tail shaft. Tail shaft's leaking as well. You can see that fresh oil coming out of there, so the tail shaft seal's gone. No surprise there. That's the new handbrake cable. It still won't adjust. There's the lever which goes up to the dashboard's umbrella type handbrake operation, but still won't work, still slack, and the adjuster's fully up. So I'm missing something in the brakes. I'm going to have to take the drums off again. I get so confused with handbrake setups. I've still not mastered it after all these years. It still confuses me how the handbrake works. I know it opens out the shoes, but I just can't work out that self-adjusting mechanism. I can't work out how to set the pads, the shoes. I know you adjust them till the drum just snugly fits on, but it still doesn't seem to work. I'm gonna master it one day because it's absolutely doing my head in, and not many things do. The most stressful thing on this entire car, and I'm talking about not putting in an engine in, I'm not talking about welding, I'm not talking about anything like that. All those things I've enjoyed. The most stressful thing, or probably the only stressful thing, other than fixing the cigarette socket, which took 4 hours just to try and get a bolt on because you'd have to take a dash out. Managed it with a magnet and a washer. The most stressful thing is the handbrake. I cannot, and even on all my other cars, I have to take it to a garage to get them to do it because I still can't work it out. So that's probably some kind of short circuit in my brain that just refuses to make the neural pathway through to complete the jigsaw. Talking in riddles, of course, but I just cannot work out how to set a handbrake so it's nice and snug. It's everything I try, it's either too slack, too tight, won't adjust, end of its adjustment travel. I'm going to get it. I'm not being beaten. There's me ramble over with. Let's get the syringe. The syringe is there, look. It's just a pump. Chris knows all about these, but he uses them for other purposes. And then we've got some 80/90. Okay, so I'll put the bung in the bottom, which is just there, and then top up. Then we're going to move on to doing the axle. I'll drop all the oil out the axle. That hasn't got a drain bung, and it won't siphon out because my Clark pump hasn't got the power to pull that oil. I'll give it one more try, but it wasn't doing it when I tried to pump oil into it. So I presume the same will apply in reverse. It won't pull it out, it won't put it in. If it ran the axle for a bit and warmed it up, it probably would. So there's that to do.
the handbrake, of course, done the speedo cable. I've got some handbrake securing clips to fit that hold the handbrake cables to the swinging arms. They're little plastic clips. They were broke. I've got 2 new ones. Plenty to be doing, and then another road test. Okay, we'll catch you when this is filled up. Okay, 17 to lock up the rotors, which we haven't got. Nice, we have 16 actually. See, the thing is, this gearbox is on Imperial settings, I think, because it belongs in a Mark II Cortina. Oh, it's derived from that. Right, bung there, and then a bit of pump action going off screen for you. Let's hope we can get this without any mess. Yeah, it's very viscous. Because the syringe is struggling to draw it up. Well, not struggling, but a good bit of elbow grease needed there for the syringe. So I'm coming into your view now. Going in. Whereabouts is the side? Oh, it's on your side. You get the ringside seats, folks. Come on in over. Come on over to my place. We're having a good time. There we go. Let's pump it up. Spray liberally. I wonder how many syringes it'll take. This certainly works. Withdraw and pull back. How much was in that? Oh, not too much. Probably just 2 syringes worth, I would have thought. Can even do it off screen. Went for the second top up now at the 5 litre container of 80/90. The amber nectar. Lovely stuff. Smells great, as Tony would say. Name that advert. It wasn't smells great, it was tastes great. And what keeps you, here's another quiz one for you, 70s quiz. What keeps you all aglow? Something keeps you all aglow. Do you remember the advert? No Googling, please. 2 syringes worth. Topping up again. Third syringe coming in. This might not take it all now. I would have thought this will finish it off. Go on, my son. I think that's it. Yep, I was right. That's full. You can tell because it carries on draining out. It's filled till it drains. Away you go. That's a nicer colour. Look at the angle of the dangle for the threads. I presume both these bungs are exactly the same. Don't tell, because the bottom one wouldn't have gone in otherwise. That'd be fun if these were different and I'd got it wrong. But you'd never have got the bottom one in. Why is that not? Oh, there we go. They are the same. I'm starting to panic though. 16 spanner then, and that's that job done. That means we'll drive around with nice gearbox oil. So we'll catch you in a sec at the axle end. Stop recording. Hang on, where are you? While we're still up this end, I thought we'd better check out these mounts here. Have a little look at these. Bring you round. We'll take. This will suddenly drop down, but it's counterbalanced. It's going to land on the cradle here. We should be okay. The 13's needed now. That was a 17. Let's get the 13. I think this is it. Yep. And then this will
No, that's not 13. I was sure that was 13. Absolutely could have sworn that was 13. So what is it then? I don't know what that is. Is it 15? It's not 15, is it 16? These are all odd. It is 15. They're all odd, weird bolt sizes. It's going to fall now. It ain't falling on me, it's just going to fall onto the... There we go. Right, so that just needs the middle piece taken off, but what? Whoa! And it's a standard mount. We've got one. It's destroyed. Wow, that is gone, folks. That's a clunker. There's nothing left of it. Now, my big thing is, where is it stored? I've got one, I just don't know where it is. I'm going to have to go digging. We'll find it. So, let me go a-digging and find this mount here. Because while we're under it, it may as well be done. That's just going to be clunky as we're driving. Let's get this job right. Let's get this car on the road, eh? See you in a sec. PC. You're on Project Papa. We're having great fun under here. Hasta la vista, baby. Mac, get to the chopper! The diff oil replaced. I topped it up with new oil. That was the old oil. Not the cleanest. So we'll get rid of that at the recycling depot. Gearbox and axle oil. So we're going to just see how this runs now on our private test track. Should be better. See how that gearbox mount goes. I've fitted that. So the gearbox mount, I found one. And that's in. So yeah, it's time to give it a little. Let's get this car on the road, eh? PC here for another day on the car. We left you doing that diff oil swap and the gearbox oil swap. That's gone good, but remember, we've been road testing now. We've got a noisy cam. So what do we find on eBay? 74 quid all in. Look at this. Brand new 600 cam. Hello, I'm not so sure. 600 cam and a 2 litre cam are the same. I'm not sure. Brand new. Also came with followers, a full set of followers, and a set of bearings for it. That's 2 litre oil, 2 litre diff bearings. We don't need those. So yeah, 74 quid all those. eBay's a good place to shop if you shop around. If a lot of people asking where do you get the dinner troll from, forgot to mention it. Rust.co.uk for your dinner troll and all the other rust proofing stuff. Just go to rust.co.uk for them. What else we got? And Burton's as well for various stuff like gaskets. I got these reams, Victor Reams top hats, stem seals from Burton Power. So look, we're good to go to do their head. I'm going to take the head off. So I parked the engine in top dead centre, making sure that the cam alignment was on the moon and the mountain. Mark the belt as well. I'm going to take the belt off to get the head off. So we're going to pull the head off, drop the water, pull the head off, change the cam, back on, set the clearances, and then let's give it another try because it's tapping like hell. Very noisy. I have done this before. I've done it on
two of my engines, so I'm familiar. Should be alright. Let's bring you down. Get down, get down, get down. We've got an Eccles cake break today as well. Looking forward to that at Cortina City. But hell yeah. Don't you just like shiny metal? Whoa! Let's check out the lay of the land on that bad boy. That's going to do us really nice. It really is. Comes with a protective armband. Really like this kind of packaging here. Look at this. Won't be much use as a condom. There's a lot of holes in this, but still, it's a great fire bandage. Go quite fast. It's like 8. Duran. Hang on. Don't you ever. Oh God. Give it up. Duran. Oh, it could be a snood. Won't fit over my head. What are you going on about? Get on and do the job, will you? Do the job.